Hi there, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. I am so excited today. It is the Fall Farmhouse DIY Challenge. I am hosting this with Carol over at My Blessed Nest. I think it's just adorable that both of us have nests in our channel names. If you have not seen Carol's channel, she does thrifting and hauls and she does some wonderful DIYs. She is just the sweetest lady. You've got to go check out her channel and tell her I sent you. My first project for you today is using these Dollar Tree Farm Fresh pumpkin signs. Now these were the design from last year, but I believe the pumpkin shape is still available this year. It just has a new design on the front of it. I'm going to just disassemble it by taking the leaf off and that jute string because I'm not going to need that. I've got 6 of these. I only ended up using 5, but I just wanted to make sure that I had enough. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is scoring with my box cutter and my ruler, and I'm going to be removing that stem because I don't need that. This is like a multi-density fiber board, almost just like a really thick cardboard, and when you score it with your box cutter, you can just snap off the piece very easily. Next, I'm going to do the same thing with my box cutter, but I'm going to score it in half. So I want to have each of these pumpkins cut in half. I'm going to find the middle, then cut my first piece, and then use one of the halves as a template to cut the rest of the pieces. Once you're done watching my video, I would love for you to go over to Carol's channel, watch her video, and then click down in our description boxes and you will find a playlist link. You are sure to be inspired by all of the wonderful ladies participating in our Fall Farmhouse DIY Challenge. Once you've got it cut in half, you can just easily clean up any of the pieces that are still there just using the knife again. I'm now going to use some of this CraftSmart spackle and just fill in those holes that were used to hang these signs. They could probably be filled in with paint, but I just wanted to make sure that they were nice and solidly filled before I started to paint. I don't know about you guys, but I hate feeling paint or spackle or anything on my fingers, so I just go ahead and use a small little piece of wood when I'm working with the spackle. It just helps because then your finger doesn't get all dry and cakey, and it's just horrible to try and get that stuff off. So it's probably just a me thing, but I just thought I would share how I do it. Once the spackle's dry, I'm just taking a really fine 220 grit sandpaper and just sanding it nice and smooth. This is a tube from a roll of gift wrap. I've cut it in half and now I'm using Rust-Oleum chalked paint in the color Chiffon Cream, and I'm going to give this a couple of coats, but just 3/4 of the way. I'm going to leave that top section brown for now. I'm also going to give all of these pumpkin halves a couple coats of the Chiffon Cream. On this front side where that black label is, I needed to do 2 coats. For the brown on the back, 1 coat was sufficient. I'm not going to be painting any of the sides, like the edges, because I'm going to be doing something different with those in a little bit. Now I'm going to distress with a color that's very similar to the Waverly Mineral Chalk Paint. This one is called Mushroom, and it's just a latex paint that I had left over from painting my walls. So I love the color and I use it quite a bit. I'm just going to do a dry brush technique because I just want to accentuate some of the brush strokes that were made when I painted it with the Chiffon Cream. This is just going to be a way to distress it and just make it look a little bit more rustic. For the top portion of this gift wrap roll, I'm just doing a little bit of dry brushing as well. I had painted it just with a dark brown acrylic paint. Here comes the fun part, assembling this pumpkin. So if you haven't figured it out already, I'm going to be using some hot glue and gluing each of these sections of pumpkin onto this gift wrap roll. Now, the first thing you've got to remember is that there's needs to be a lot of hot glue. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. So you should probably be putting a bead at least 1/4 inch wide This was something that I figured out as I was going along. That's how crafters work. We figure things out as we go along. You can see here that I just did not have enough glue on this first piece, so it gave me a little bit of trouble, but then I did end up figuring it out. Another thing that I figured out is that you don't want to have the bottom portion of the pumpkin sticking out farther than the bottom part of the craft tube, because that will give your pumpkin a wonky look to it. It won't sit straight. I did have to do a little bit of trimming with my craft knife at the very bottom in some of the pieces. And as you can see, I'm still struggling with this first one. So again, grabbing some more hot glue and making it work. Once I got the first two attached, finally, I went on to add two more to make a total of 4. That would be sort of an X pattern. And then I went ahead and added more and more. You can see here that I also have put on my little Dollar Tree silicone fingertip protector, because I was taking my finger and running down the side of where the hot glue was sticking out. As I said, I used a lot of hot glue, so I did want to take off a little bit of the excess. I'm now going to use a makeup sponge and some acrylic paint in the color Honey Brown. It's a really kind of a muted brownish orange color. It's really nice, and I love it for farmhouse decor because it's really not too bright of an orange. And I'm just going to dab my makeup sponge all the way around on all of these edges, and if a little bit of paint gets on the chiffon cream, that's okay. It's going to just give it a little bit of added character and make it look a little bit more like a pumpkin. So as you can tell from this, the brown is meant to be the stem of the pumpkin, but I didn't want it straight up like that. It just didn't look natural. So I'm taking my box cutter and making 4 slits about a 1/2 inch down, and then I'm just going to bend those cardboard pieces in on themselves just to give it more of a stem look, a little bit more natural looking, I guess. I also cut a bit of a slit about halfway down because I wanted to give the stem a little bit of a crook. So taking out a little piece of the cardboard allowed me to just bend it without breaking anything. I decided to take some hot glue and glue down the stem pieces just so they would be in the shape that I wanted. I didn't like them kind of just all ragged like that, so I'm just going to bend them over and glue them in place. No farmhouse project would be complete without some type of twine or jute rope or burlap. So I've got this wired cord from the Dollar Tree. It's jute rope or twine, but it's got a wire inside of it. So I'm just going to be twirling it around my pencil so I can get the curly cues of the pumpkin, and then I'm going to wrap the center portion around the bottom of the stem. I'm going to go around 3 or 4 times, and I'll secure it with hot glue so it doesn't pop off. I'm going to use one of these burlap oak leaves from the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 5, and I'll just hot glue that right onto the stem. I am so happy with how this turned out. Check out this adorable pumpkin. I'd like to thank Carol over at My Blessed Nest for hosting with me today. If you like this kind of content, I would love for you to stick around a while, hit that red subscribe button, and click the blue bell to get notified when I upload new videos. Thanks so much for watching to the end. Don't forget to check out the playlist. See you in the next one.